تحریک کشمیر برطانیہ کے زیر اہتمام خواتین کے عالمی دن کے موقع پر انٹرنیشنل کشمیر کانفرنس منعقد کی گئی، جس میں صدر ریاست آزاد جموں و کشمیر سردار مسعود خان، برطانوی اور آسٹریلوی پارلیمنٹیرینز، دنیا بھر کے انسانی حقوق کے نمائندوں سمیت وکلاء اور کشمیری رہنماؤں نے شرکت کی۔ اس کانفرنس کی صدارت راجہ فہیم کیانی، صدر تحریک کشمیر برطانیہ نے کی۔ مقررین نے عالمی یوم خواتین کے موقع پر دنیا بھر کی خواتین، خصوصاً بھارتی مقبوضہ جموں و کشمیر میں خواتین کے ساتھ ہونے والے مظالم کی بھرپور الفاظ میں مذمت کی۔
And hold a debate on this under the ARIA formula format. I would also appeal all of you to dedicate this day to Asia Indrabi, a lady in her 60s who is in Tihar jail, one of the most notorious jails in India, where she's being tortured and threatened with execution, and her two companions, Fahmida Sufi and Nahida Nasri. Now, what is their crime? They have never picked up a gun. They have never used a gun. They have never incited hatred or violence. All they have said that they want their right to self-determination, they want their liberty, they want their fundamental freedoms and civil liberties. And for that crime, they are being tortured in Tihar jail. My last point is that beyond formalism, beyond these webinars, beyond this diplomatic, legal, and media lingo that we use, Kashmiri women and girls' pain should be felt by everyone, men and women all around the world. Their pain should become your pain, and then you would realize what they're going through: besieged, raped, molested, discriminated, marginalized, hounded by predators. Now, there should be a way to stop this, and I think these voices that are being raised today from London and from all around the world, they make a difference, and we should be able to stop these crimes against humanity, these crimes against Kashmiri women and girls, and I'm sure that we will succeed. I want to thank Mr. Fahim Kiani for his initiative, for his remarks, and Ms. Rehana Ali for her remarks, and also for conducting this session.
We heard moving accounts of how women had been raped, leading to their fleeing their homes from Jammu and Kashmir. Sexual violence is particularly used against women as a weapon. So on this International Women's Day, I ask you to pledge your support to women's rights, which are human rights, which we all believe in, and make sure that wherever you are, whatever country, whatever community, wherever you see this discrimination and injustice, that you will stand up and do what's right and make sure that you put an end to that. This year's theme for International Women's Day is generational inequality. Let this generation know what true equality is like. Challenge these injustices, as I say, this discrimination, this abuse, wherever you see it. Choose to do what's right. Choose equality. Thank you.
Realize that for 73 plus years now, here we are, we're seeing this struggle and the suffering that has been happening. And of course, this has been done by the whole Kashmiri community, with the whole makeup of the Kashmiri community for this whole struggle. But I think one thing is absolutely clear, as some of the speakers have already touched on, but whenever there is a conflict, whenever there is a war, then actually the heaviest burden of that conflict, the heaviest suffering actually is always carried by the woman. And that I think is true also of the Kashmiri women here. But I think when you focus further on what has been happening, the President, His Excellency, has already touched on in detail some of those stuff. But fundamentally, you know, that the rules of the international law, the UN resolutions, the Declaration of Human Rights of UDHR and the CDAW, all really urge us to work towards elimination. But we've seen this. One aspect, of course, has been the sexual violence which has been perpetrated against the Kashmiri women. And again, the president has talked about the gang rape, the thousands of women who have suffered that, the widow issue, the whole complexity and the economic side of it. And then the unique idea you also get in the Kashmir is what's known as half widows, left in no man's land, not knowing anything what is going on with their loved one, their husbands, and being stuck in the whole sort of a quagmire of this conflict. So there are these.
And rape has become a weapon of war. And what also happens in war, like there's the killings of violence, but also war and the preparation for war robs the public purse, which means, again, women are being robbed of money that should be going into education and health services, building homes, creating jobs, so they can take their reach their full potential, take their part in society. Now, I wanted to bring those points together because, to my mind, this is so relevant to the issue of the status of Kashmiri women, because at the moment, although war hasn't been declared against Kashmir, it is in many ways effectively a war situation. When you look at those rape figures, you look at the occupation of 800,000 Indian troops that are in Jammu Kashmir. Like these are an extraordinary numbers. The cost of that war effort would be simply staggering. And again, I emphasize it's robbing communities of services that they should be entitled to. So this is something that we need to analyse, and we need to remember that when we talk about the rape of these Kashmiri women, no Indian troops are charged. Like, it just does not happen. Why doesn't it happen? Because these Indian troops have immunity. They have immunity because India has passed a law that that ensures that no military personnel, no soldier, can be charged for any crime. But they are crimes. They're crimes against humanity. They're crimes against, they're effectively war crimes. But this immunity goes on and on. It really is a form of state terrorism. When you have communities that are being terrorised systematically, with the women being targeted as they are with this shocking violence and with targeted rape, again, the president gave the figures about the young boys who were taken from their homes, often in the middle of the night, in a very similar way to the way the Israeli troops drag out young Palestinian boys out of their homes, and then they're sent to jails scattered across India, so their parents really can't visit them because it's just not possible. So all this adds up to a shocking situation and putting more of a burden on women. And again, to emphasize that while this goes on, what chance of women, Kashmiri women, have of achieving equal rights, whether it's equal pay or more childcare centres or better education facilities or top-rate health facilities.
And that is why today, March 8th, International Women's Day, is so important to commemorate, not only for me, but for all women and girls worldwide, especially Kashmiri women who have borne the brunt of the Kashmir conflict for years. When their husbands, sons, and brothers disappear or are killed at the hands of the Indian Army, they are forced to pick up the pieces and ensure their family's survival. They also constantly suffer.
तरीन ने कहा कि भारतीय हुकूमत ने भारतीय फौज को काले कवानीन के जरिए खुली छुट्टी दी है कि वो रेप को जंग के हथियार के तौर पर इस्तेमाल करें, और अब तक 1990 से लेकर 11,000 से जायद औरतों का भारतीय मकबूजा कश्मीर में रेप किया जा चुका है। उन्होंने कहा कि अक़वाम आलम की खामोशी मुजरिमाना है और कश्मीरी औरतों के हुकूक के हवाले से बैनुल-अक़वामी ताकतों का भारत पर दबाव न डालना उनके दोहरे मयार को बुरी तरह बेनकाब करता है। इस सिलसिले में आसिया इंदिराबी से लेकर सैकड़ों ख़वातीन को बेगुनाह जेलों में बंद करना इंसानी हुकूक की बदतरीन खिलाफ वर्जी है।